Nurture. I'm going to go to the next slide. So basically, this project is part of our Nurture program that we launched last year. It's Design Canberra Presents Nurture, and last year, of course, we couldn't present Design Canberra because of all of the things that are happening and are still happening. So we've replaced it with a Nurture program with the view to nurturing and supporting our membership and artists in Canberra. So the Nurture, Discover, Craft and Design Trail is a program that's designed to support Craft ACT members. It's designed to provide funding to the artists who participate and give the artists opportunity to work with skilled mentors to realise their concepts and to work in new materials to develop their own practice to create public art interventions. It'll result in a temporary public art trail in City West during Design Canberra 2022, which is basically 2nd until the 22nd of November in 2022, this year. The program will invite audiences to participate in the process of exploration and discovery as they follow the trail to engage with the city in new ways, changing our community's experience of place. The artworks will be on display for both Contour 556 and Design Canberra in 2022. So we're hoping that they'll be on display for the entirety of October and November. So applications will have to respond to the concept brief and will be assessed by a panel, including the mentors. They'll be assessed on the strength of concept, the quality of the proposal in relation to the brief and their chosen category. And I'll explain what the brief, I'm going to go through what the brief is and what the categories are in a moment. Their own personal practice development potential, environmental sustainability, safety and security, and a realistic budget. Okay, so the concept brief for this project. The brief is to create temporary site-specific work that respond to the theme of transformation. And through transformation, you might reflect on Canberra's recent experience, including the bushfires, the pandemic, and the possibilities for transformation. What will Canberra's immediate and long-term future be like? So we hope that the work will be experiential, inviting intimacy, close inspection, contemplation, discovery, interaction, or sensory engagement. Could be ephemeral, or it could be temporary. It could be single works or component parts within a specific place. The materials can be anything, but they have to be able to last outdoors. This is an outdoor sculpture trail for 8 weeks. We hope, as I said, it will be site specific and it will be in the City West precinct. And I'm going to go through what that precinct is. And there'll be a creative response to their site. So for security, they must be difficult for people to steal or damage, and they must be safe for public interaction. And we urge you to read the terms and conditions, which you'll find attached to the application form and also on our website before you lodge your application. So fees and budget. So artist fees. So artists will receive $2,000 at the beginning of the project in order to develop their concept. They'll then work with a mentor for about 10 days, developing that concept and maybe, you know, developing the materials and the ways of doing things. And then they will, and during that time, they'll receive a materials fee of up to $5,000. For the transport, installation, de-installation and engineering fee will be up to $2,000. So that's for, obviously, for installation, transport, anything of that nature. Successful applicants will have the opportunity to work with mentors for approximately 10 hours, as I just said. And Craft ACT and Design Canberra will work with the CRA to obtain site permissions, engineering reports, and assist with the installation and de-installation of the work. So the categories, at this stage, there are 6 categories. So the first category is casting, and I'll just run through these at this stage, and I'll get the mentors when it's their turn to talk specifically about their categories. So casting with Nick Stranks as the mentor. The second category is digital fabrication with Sam Tompkins as the mentor. Third is wood with Thor Dissendorf. Textiles with Valerie Kirk. And then there will be 2 open categories. And the open category doesn't have a mentor and allows the artist to respond to the concept brief and work up their own idea independently in a medium of their choice. All right, so now we move on to the locations that we've got for this project. So they're all within City West. And you can see here, there's a map of City West. This is not, oh, hang on, can everybody see my pointer?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so this is Northbourne Avenue. This is Childress Street. The art school is over here. Film and sound archives over here. This is Edinburgh Avenue, I believe. And London Circuit. Sorry, bit of feedback there. So this is the basic area in which the trail will happen. So artists can choose one of the sites that I'm about to show you within the precinct, or you can choose your own site, but of course we'll have to, it'll be, they can propose a site, but we have to get permissions and that sort of thing for that particular site. Okay, so first site we've got, oops, I'm just going to get rid of this, put that over there. First site here is Latin American Plaza. Yeah, I think I'm just going to run through the sites. I can't see, where's the chat? Might just bring up the chat. So if anybody's got any specific questions, put them into the chat. I've got the chat up so I can see if anybody has any specific questions about these sites. So Latin American Plaza, next one. So this is the corner of Childress Street and University Avenue. This is the plaza that essentially runs up to Canberra. School of Art and Design courtyard, and I think there may be other sites at the School of Art and Design, the ANU School of Art and Design, but then we haven't got specifics on those yet. Okay, corner of Marcus Clark and Edinburgh Avenue, so we're down here. And, a lot of these sites are, we've got a location, but there's lots of different possibilities within these locations. And I think, it would be worth your while going and visiting the locations and thinking about what you might want to do in those locations. Okay, Edinburgh Avenue and London Circuit. So just down the road a little bit. So this is the footpath here. And this is obviously the intersection that I've given you a photograph of. Corner of University Avenue and London Circuit. This is the plaza in front of the law courts. I'm not exactly sure that we've got the right location for this one, but certainly it's a lovely spot. It's worth considering, but it might need extra. I'm not sure if it will need any extra permissions to use that location. Hobart Place. So there's Hobart Place up here is just at the top end of No Name Lane. And there's some lovely spots in this location that I think might work well for people. And the corner of West Row and Alinga Street. I don't have a very good photograph of that area, but that would be sort of down, you know, down here somewhere. There may be a possibility of using the overpass. Okay, so the next section is for us to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, is for each of the mentors to speak just for a couple of minutes to tell us about what they do and what they'll bring to the project. So Nick, would you mind starting us off?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Look, and thank you for inviting me to be involved with this project. It's an exciting project, and you know, there's a lot of artists who are obviously interested in it. So I'm keen to get started and get involved and get developing ideas. So for those that don't know me, I worked at the ANU for almost 30 years. I left there about a year ago, 2 years ago almost now. And I was involved in lecturing and a technician there. So I ran a bronze casting foundry. And since leaving the art school, I've continued to do that. So my strength would be in casting, but not necessarily just bronze casting, but mold making and elaborating ideas from mold making as well. So although people immediately think of me as, you know, a metal sculptor and fabricator, I've also worked extensively with artists, developing their ideas, installing public artworks, and also pushing the boundaries of what they think might be possible as well. So I've enjoyed, you know, over 30 years working closely with artists developing a project to fruition. So although I'm an artist myself and I install my own works and what have you, you know, my main practice would be actually working with other artists as well. So I'm a fabricator. I work in a wide range of materials. I'm not limited to bronze, but, you know, as a mold maker, we could make and copy elements. We could make repetitive works. There's lots of ways of expanding ideas into public spaces with that realm as well. So, you know, I'm excited to hear what, you know, some artists' ideas are, and then sit back and talk to you and develop those. I've got a wide network of people that I work with as well, and access to a lot of other makers and fabricators. So there's a lot of advice that we could gain from those people as well. So really, I'll just look forward to working with the artists and expanding what might be a small seed of an idea into a much larger conceptual work. But that's about it, really. You know, I'm ready for questions.
Thank you, Nick. I might run through everybody first and then we can get the questions. But if you've got any questions in your mind at the moment, put them into the chat and we'll get to them just at the end of this first section. Okay, so the next person I've got on my list is Sam Tompkins. Sam, would you mind speaking a bit about yourself?
Mic check, am I coming through okay?
Yep, you sound great.
Great. Hi everyone, I'm Sam Tompkins. I am an industrial designer by trade and a lecturer here at University of Canberra. I teach across the design disciplines here, and a lot of my practice centers around digital technologies and second life materials and how those sort of interact. I think pretty much a lot of what I would say would mirror exactly what Nick has said around getting started and getting stuck in. But I think as far as what I could be providing as a mentor, I worked with a lot of artists around the digitization of their works, so how they might be transferring across a medium that they might be working into a different medium through these technologies, or it could be working within their own digital practice to sort of expand upon their skill sets. I think an additional bonus would be if you're wanting to work with me, I have an amazing workshop here at the university that I've been a part of for the last few years. And so it's all of those digital technologies that you may not typically be able to access. And that's hopefully what I can provide as a mentor as well.
Sam, could you just specifically run through the digital technologies that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I guess with digital fabrication, we tend to use it as a big umbrella term, but it would be things such as, all of your kind of typical, CNC routers, laser cutting. We have suites such as 3D scanning, 3D printing technologies. There's a lot of work I'm doing in large scale robotic 3D printing. So how you print something that might be that big, you can, print the size of a phone booth. So that's sort of the technologies that I'm engaged in, and sort of running parallel to that is you have those technologies, and of course, what are the materials as inputs into those technologies as well, which is an exciting thing to consider as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, next we have Thor Dissendorf from Thor's Hammer.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting to be involved. Always, Craft ACT is always doing amazing stuff. I guess my background is that I've been running Thor's Hammer, which is a timber recycling business for about, 27 years now. And we've supplied timber, and also we make furniture and joinery out of recycled timber. And I've worked on sort of, jobs of all sizes, including sort of public stuff like Reconciliation Place and Sliver 6. So we've been involved in some sculptural projects, big pergolas. We're doing Australian Parliament House, replacing their pergola at the moment in the Prime Minister's courtyard. We do stuff at the Botanic Gardens. There's a big play structure that we're involved in as well. So I've got a bit of experience around from, big structural installations to small things like furniture and smaller things like furniture and, machining and stuff like that with timber. I'd also, be happy to, as well as offering my experience, offer access to the workshop, which is, primarily focused on timber. It's got all the normal machinery. From July, we're going to have a 5-axis CNC here, so I'm not sure about how that works with the timing, but there might be possibilities to use that. And we also have a steel workshop, which is just mainly focused on making hardware and bases for furniture, but we've sort of got TIG welding and, docking of steel, those kind of basic sort of steel workshop facilities.
Thank you. That's brilliant. All right, and the last mentor we have is Valerie Kirk. Welcome, Valerie.
Hey, everyone, and thanks, Morag. Wow, what a fantastic project. Just looking at the sites, I can see lots of potential. My background is in textiles and particularly woven tapestry, but more widely in art. And over the years, I've participated in a number of public projects, commissions, and installed work in buildings and specific sites. So although I think that, textiles, we don't immediately think of in that kind of outdoor setting, when it does happen, it tends to be pretty spectacular, unusual, catches people's eye. I was just thinking particularly about one project, an Aboriginal designed jumping castle. It's called the Bouncy Basket because it was originally made as a 3-dimensional basket. And then this image was printed and made into a child's jumping castle. It looks amazing. And so when textiles goes out of the kind of norm of the things that we expect to know about, there's a world of things that can happen. So I'm very excited to be involved in this and happy to help people kind of expand and stretch ideas, perhaps about where textiles can go. That we know in recent times, textiles really took up on the digital. Lots of digital printing, lots of other technologies that combine hand skills, design, and working with the digital. So there are many, many possibilities in that kind of direction. I'm also very keen to help very practically with projects because from my experience, I can see, I hope you can't hear my daughter in the background, I'm fighting with her here just now for sound. So just thinking, working through a project, I think that communication is really important in different forms. verbal, written, and the visual. We're visual artists, so presenting visually. And I think if you try and communicate through these 3 different forms simultaneously, then you reach your widest audience. Also, I'm very keen on project planning and how you practically work through a project. So the beginning, setting something up, making sure the ideas are sound, that everything is feasible for the project, setting a timeline, solving problems, working through the actual production, and then hitting all the deadlines, getting things there on time, and having things come to fruition in a way that really expands and develops on the initial ideas and really meets the brief and engages the public audience. So I look forward to working with anyone who would really like to kind of move into this direction or think about the possibilities of this area.
Thank you very much, Valerie. Okay, now next I've got, I don't know, Russell Hobbs, can you hear me? Are you around? Would you like?
Yes, Morag, it's Neil, sorry. Yes,
Oh,
here I
hi,
am.
nice to meet you, Neil.
Here I am.
Would you like to talk a little bit about Contour and about, and Jody might pipe in a little bit with the crossover between Craft and Design Trail and Contour, but yeah.
Sure.
Well, share a little bit of your wonderful knowledge with us.
Yeah, sure. No, so basically, we're having our 4th iteration of Contour 556 in October this year. We'll be extending, for a full 4 weeks. So we'll go from the 29th of September effectively through to about the 29th of October. So there'll be a good connection to jump onto Design Canberra's programming to follow. We're going to have a city presence. We've got some works proposed for the Median and Northbourne Avenue, City Hill on the northern side, and Civic Square. But we also have a couple of building foyers in this City West precinct where we'll have artworks, and we'll also have artworks that run back down to West Basin. So it'll be a really good connection from the city all the way around through the west of the city, down through the ANU down to the lake. Some of the tricks, a couple of these areas will also require some NCA works approvals and so on, but we'll be having a whole suite of all our works through that same process. So I suppose, well, I'll talk with Jody how this works, but there'll be sort of multiple approvals which will work together to assume that to basically anybody in the City West precinct, we'll make sure we cover off all the approvals either via Contour or via Design Canberra in various applications. There might be some, depending on the size of your work, there might be, when you're thinking about budgets and applications, if your work would be large, you might need temporary traffic management to get the work installed. And while there's some money in the budget that through Design Canberra, if we can ask some questions, I can give some advice about how much traffic management sort of kind of costs. We've got a good experience about how those sort of things go for setups and installs for larger objects that can't be just lifted into position or whatever. And it's really, I suppose, what we're hoping to do with Contour is we'll be around the whole of Canberra as well, but basically the whole city thing. I think that the collaboration with Design Canberra and Jody's and Craft ACT is going to be great to have that longer period. The 8-week exposure, I suppose, in the city will be really wonderful for artists. So that's a real great advantage.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're very excited to be working alongside you with all your experience and everything. We've got a lot to learn. Okay, so I am just going to share my screen again. So now this is just all about how to apply. So you've obviously got this far. You're interested. We're doing it. Yes.
All right. Can you hit present? We've got
sorry.
Thanks.
I've got the
Other view.
Oh, okay. It's showing, it's the regular one. Let's just stop that. It's funny. I don't know what I've done wrong. Maybe I'm just not showing the right one. Yes, I'm not showing the right one. Okay. Is that better? Except it's the wrong slide. Is that better?
It's the same, but that's okay.
Oh,
Let's go.
I'm sorry. Okay, so anyway, I'll just run through it. So basically, the applications are now open. They're open until the 14th of February, 5 p.m. There's a link to the applicant. There's all of this information that I've gone through, plus a lot more, or some more, on the Design Canberra website, and a link to the presentation can be found there at designcanberrafestival.com.au/discover craft and design trail. Anyway, if you go to the website, there's a link. So I'm going to have to open this up a little bit so I can read it. You can read along with me. So the applications will respond to the Nurture Discover concept brief and will be assessed by a panel, including the mentors. On the strength of concept, the quality of the proposal in relation to the brief and the chosen category, the artist designer's practice and development potential, environmental sustainability, safety and security, and a realistic budget. I think I went through these earlier. Anyway, yeah, so you can find a link to the website on the on our Design Canberra website. Also, you can go to Submittable through our Craft ACT Submittable page. Okay, I'm going to put that into the chat. I'm going to
Just the terms and conditions.
Oh, yes. So there's as I said before, the terms and conditions are attached to the application form. You must read the terms and conditions before you apply submit your application, so that you're fully aware of all of our particular terms and conditions before you apply. Okay, just going to put this into the chat. All right, so now what I'd like to do, stop sharing. And Jodie, do you have anything you'd like to add before we open it up to questions?
Oh no, I just wanted to thank everyone who is participating in making this such an amazing project. Very much a big thanks to our mentors, Nick, Sam, Thor and Valerie, and our partners, the City Renewal Authority and Contour 556, and we also have two sponsors, Meredith Hinchcliffe and Graham Humphreys. So it's just not possible without everyone, and also the ACT government has been very supportive of this project, and it's really exciting to see it all happening. And thanks, Morag. So over to the questions.
Okay, so if you want to raise your hand if you have a question, or put it in the chat. I'm looking at, I've got 2 pages of you here though, and I'll keep flicking through you. So hopefully myself or Jodie will be able to see any questions that come up. So if you could put them in the chat and put who you would like your question to be directed to. Anybody? Got any questions? We should have had some Dorothy Dixers ready to go.
I have a question. Maybe I'll ask a question while everyone else is thinking. When people are preparing their applications, can they contact a mentor for advice on the application or not? Because we are actually on the selection panel.
Jodie.
I suspect not, because we're also conscious of the mentor's time, and we don't want them to be using up all their time pre the project. So and Valerie well pointed out that you are on the selection panel, so then there could be a conflict of interest. So at this stage, no, you can't contact the mentors until afterwards. So that being said, though, remember this is an opportunity to work with the mentor to develop your proposal. So we're not expecting the proposals to be fully formed final ideas. We're just really keen to see what you're thinking about and what your previous work is like, and what an amazing opportunity this might be for you. So don't get too uptight about not actually knowing every detail of your proposal, but we will still need to have some idea of where you're headed.
I guess
There's another question. Will we be accepting collaborative proposals? For example, if two artists want to submit a proposal together, is that acceptable?
Yes, that's completely acceptable, but the budget won't be doubled. The budget will be the same.
Okay.
So,
Your application.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, and so the next question that comes after that is extending on Fran's question. Can a collaborative application work across two or more mentors? So a project which has a couple of different materials, for example. So they perhaps want to draw on digital and casting. So can an application actually be directed towards two mentors?
It can, but the mentors have been paid to just support one proposal each. So we would consider that, the whole panel would consider that application, and if that had a lot of strengths, then it's possible that that application would then be shared across the mentors.
So perhaps then the mentors' hours could be split so that it was a proposal that went to one mentor and half.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Thanks, Valerie.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? Sorry, I'm trying to see in the chat.
I can't see any more questions in the chat.
Oh, Michelle.
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone.
Do you want to unmute yourself? Oh, yeah, you're unmuted. Great. Go for it.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, just a question. Thanks for the overview. It was really interesting. And just a general question that other people might be curious about. You talked a little bit about security and safety and also audience engagement. And I was wondering if the proposal includes a type of work that actually encourages engagement by passerbyers, you know, like what sort of factors might you have to consider in terms of that engagement by people? Like I'm talking about in a physical sense, you know, like touching or getting involved with the actual piece of work. So what sort of considerations might you have to think of? And also, I guess there would have to be some sort of risk assessment process brought forward in terms of that proposal, you know, like just considering, you know, is it going to fall on someone? Is it all those sorts of nasties?
That's right.
And anyway, I'll just leave that with you, and thanks for your answer.
Michelle, we would absolutely require that to be thought through in the proposal, so a little preliminary risk assessment. We're also hoping to get engineering support, so we've approached a sponsor to help us getting engineering clearance, so if there's any, just to make sure of the potential risks and mitigating those risks. And I just wonder if Neil is still there, if he's got any more advice for us on this topic.
The sort of things with public safety that we've come across are, I suppose, the risk of somebody doing something stupid, climbing something and falling off something and so on. Then there's obviously damage. We've had very little actual vandalism of artworks that have been in the previous contours, and I suppose some of them are in quite, let's say, unsurveilled places, and some are in quite prominent places. But generally speaking, we've been lucky, or whatever's happened, but basically artists have to be aware, I suppose, that if something is damaged, you might have to do a running repair. You might have to remove the work in the worst case. You might have to certainly very quickly be available to sort of barricade it off and undertake whatever work needs to happen. What we've always done with insurance is have the event has public liability insurance to cover somebody injuring themselves on the work, but we haven't provided actual insurance for the artwork itself. So that's something we've always had required the artists to provide. And obviously with ephemeral works, obviously the actual insured value is minimal, but some works are obviously quite valuable that are placed in places even temporarily. So that's a thing to be mindful of. But again, I suppose it's things like, and again, we can certainly help, and certainly if it's something that's a fabricated work or a timber work that Thor and Nick might be working on, there's some things like entrapment issues. There's some issues about various things about if you apply playground standards to thing that you try and avoid certain minimum dimensions and things so people can't hurt themselves on a work. But again, it's a matter of we see what artists want to create, and then we work out how we solve the problems if any of those problems if we see any risks in those sort of things, we work to sort of try and resolve those risks.
Just thank you so much, Neil. Just on the insurance issue, Craft ACT does require participants who are successful in getting this project to become members, and we would require them to be associate members, which means that then the public liability insurance is covered, but again, the actual works will not be insured by Design Canberra or Contour, so that needs to be considered when you are developing your concept. Maureen,
yes.
I think Harry's got her.
Oh,
Yeah, I can see. I was just wondering, did Michelle still got her hand up?
yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry for just.
Harry, I'll come to you next.
That was a really great answer. Thank you so much. And I was just wondering if the proposal, like the artwork actually got created on site and it was through public participation as well as, artistic involvement, like is that a type of work that is that the kind of thing that you might be interested in, or you're more interested in works that are fully resolved?
Absolutely, Michelle. I think any idea is a good idea, and the idea is that we're activating City West. So if you're activating it with participants being involved, then that's very exciting possibility. And I guess we just want to see how that would activate across Contour and Design Canberra Festival across the dates, and also a rigorous risk assessment again.
Yeah, great. Harriet, your question.
Hello, sorry.
You still with us?
We can hear
Can
you.
you hear me there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, great, thank you, sorry. Sorry, I keep dropping in and out, and I'll have to ask whether I can maybe listen to the recording to go over some of the earlier information. But I did have a question about, is there a possibility to use power in the work?
Yes, that would then have to be negotiated with the site, and we would have to seek permissions from a power source nearby. That would be complicated, but you would need to do some research on that and figure out how to address that, and we can support you in that process.
If I can just jump in there, Jody, the little park at West Row has a power point because there's an irrigation controller there. So the West Row Park, which is just corner of Hobart Place, down the bottom of London Circuit there, and so on. There is power there. When we've had power with works, though, we've generally looked to have. There've been, I suppose, performances or sort of periodic installations and so on. So it may be a work which is it. And again, this is something which I haven't discussed with Jody, but whether a work is there for the 8 weeks, but it's only there on Saturday mornings from 10 till 11 or whatever, you know what I mean? If there's something, so because again, leaving something plugged in for 8 weeks is probably a little bit tricky.
Yes.
Yeah.
So something like that may be something that is just activated at times in the evenings or something or other, and there's a program of events that occur around it or something like that. And that's certainly for Contour. We obviously encourage those sorts of activities. But as to whether or not that fits the brief for this project, that's probably something Jody might have to have a chat about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lithium
Sorry,
batteries are pretty amazing these days too.
Yes,
So wouldn't that be
yeah.
another option possibly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We've actually, sorry, Jodie, we've actually had a small generator for a work too, where we couldn't get any power. So again, there's ways around things to do it if you can handle the noise and all sorts of things. So there are other ways than having mains power. Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly Design Canberra would be open to periodic installations as well, if that makes it more achievable. So just one more thing I wanted to mention was that Neil and I have been chatting about a symposium that would occur on the weekend between Contour 556 and the Design Canberra Festival. And we would like, so that we can actually talk about all of these works and have a more robust conceptual discussion about it. So just wanted to plant that idea in people's heads as well.
Harry, did that answer your question? You still got your hand up. Oh, she's gone. Thanks. All right. Have we got any more questions?
I just had one.
Sure. Who are we? Kate?
Kate. It's
Hi,
Kate.
Kate.
Hi, everyone. The project I'm sort of thinking about in my mind would be a two-dimensional paste up or mural type of a project. So I was wondering if that fitted with this or if it would be all sculptural three-dimensional.
I think that would fit within the definitely fit within the brief.
Thanks.
Yeah. There's another question here from Jacqueline. Is there a limit to the number of works that you will accept, and how many potential applications will have the opportunity to receive funding? So, Jodie?
At the moment, we have funding for 6 to 10 works, depending on the budgets. So the budget is our limit. So you've been, Morag gave an overview of the amount of money we could allocate to each artwork and each participant before. So the panel, when we are selecting the works, will then decide what's achievable. So if they're all very expensive proposals, there's going to be 6. If they're mixed, we could hopefully get up to 10. We are still seeking further sponsorship to see if we can actually increase that, because we'd really like to make this a really robust trail for the public to follow.
And the second part of that question was, is there a limit to the number of works that you will accept? That might be part of that question. I'm not quite sure.
Just in case I misunderstood, I thought that's per proposal, but within a proposal, of course, many multiples can be included. So things hanging in trees, or which is a way of dealing with security. So the actual number of proposals that we'll accept is probably 6 to 10, unless we get further sponsorship. But the actual work can comprise of component parts.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Jacqueline. Margot's asked, is it possible to attach an artwork to a tree in any of the locations? I would say dependent on approvals.
Yep.
That would definitely, there are trees in some of the locations. So yeah, that would be my thinking on that one.
I just wondered, I can see Pat now. Hi, Pat. I'm just wondering if you wanted to make any comments from the City Renewal Authority perspective and what you're hoping to see from the proposals.
Of course. So as far as the City Renewal Authority is concerned, and our sponsorship agreement that we have with Design Canberra, we're really excited for this program because it's activating a part of the city that for us is very special, and it's something that we believe needs a bit of love. And so having, that nurturing, that love, following the theme that Design Canberra and Jodie have so eloquently put up, I think would be a really great outcome for City West. As far as from an infrastructure point of view perspective, we obviously have a lot of experience working in public space, being the primary people working in the city. So if there are questions throughout having your proposals, feel free to send them to Craft ACT, and if it's appropriate, I'll just ask Craft ACT to forward those on to us. Other than that, good luck. I think we've got a really amazing group of mentors for this program. I've see some faces I recognise, and I know for a fact they've all done brilliant work. So if you don't know much about them, I definitely look into them.
Thanks so much, Pat.
No worries.
Okay, so have we got any more questions? We've got about 10 minutes more that we can fill up. Are non-ACT residents eligible to apply, i.e. ACT region and New South Wales based? I would say yes, they are, but as Jody said before, everybody, if you apply, you need to then become, or if you're accepted, you need to become a member of Craft ACT. You need to become an associate member or an accredited professional member to get our public liability insurance. But yes, certainly we have members from as far afield as Sydney and all over the New South Wales ACT region. There's another question here. Would there be an expectation for artists to be available to speak to the public during the exhibition?
Yes, absolutely. We would hope that you would be open to doing artist talks on the trail and potentially participating in the symposium.
Yeah. Media. Patrick Rose.
Sorry, I
Yes.
actually meant to send that directly to Jody. I was just saying having artists speak directly to media can often be very beneficial to programs. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I forgot that. And I can't see the chat on this device. So
that's my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jody's, I have evicted Jody from her office, which is very naughty of me, and she's on the iPad. So okay. So do any of our mentors have anything else they'd like to add?
One little thing, I wonder if it's appropriate if artists do have specific questions in relation to the mentorship or what might be available, maybe there would be an option for them to contact Craft and then Craft approach us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are quite a few artists that would say, look, would you be able to do this or what have you?
Yeah.
And I think that avenue to filter questions and also to direct responses, you know, I'd be really excited about doing this project. Who do you think would be the most suitable person? Because, you know, we've all got amazing skills and experience. So I think that could be appropriate for the Craft to be a repository of questions.
That's a great idea, Nick. Thank you so much. And so we are happy to take questions. Please email Morag directly.
Yeah.
And her information's on the application form on the site.
Yeah.
And she can then forward them to mentors or to the City Renewal Authority who've offered their assistance as well.
Yeah. And you feel free to call me at Craft ACT as well if you need, you know, if you want to ask a question that you think I might be able to answer. So just ring our office number. I'm in the office between Wednesday and Friday. I may be working from home a little bit over the next couple of weeks, but yeah, or send me an email. It's probably the best thing. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I might wrap it up. Jody?
So I just wanted to add that the recording of this will be available on the website as soon as we can get it there, so that if anyone missed part of it or would like to listen to it again, you'll be able to access it on the Design Canberra Festival website.
Yeah, yeah. And the presentation that I gave is based on the presentation that is in the on our Design Canberra website. If you scroll through the information down to the bottom, there's actually a pamphlet there, a digital pamphlet that gives you a lot of the information that I talked about today. All right, well, I'd like to thank you all so much for coming along. It's really great to see that there's so much interest in this project. I think it's going to be a fabulous project. I'd like to particularly thank Valerie, Thor, Nick and Sam for being here, and Neil Hobbs for being here, and Patrick Rose. And yeah, thank you all, and please contact me if you have any particular questions or any questions for the mentors that I can then pass on. Thanks,
you.
Judith.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.